All right, I think we'll begin. Welcome, everyone. We'll call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Pioneer Valley Regional School Committee. Today is Thursday, August 8th. I'd like to remind everyone that this meeting is being recorded by the Bernardston-Northfield Community Television Station for live or future viewing. I'd like to remind the committee members of our norms before we begin this evening. And we will begin with citizens' comments, please.
Can I just ask a couple questions on the budget sheet, because I'm not sure you're gonna allow it. Is this the first of fiscal year 20? I mean, I know we're paying it by 7/31/19, but this is the first money that's being spent out of the fiscal year 20 budget?
Okay, so I want to remind everyone, or let everyone know that Tanya Gaylord, our Director of Finance, she is on live with us on the cell phone, so she'll be able to answer any of those questions, okay?
Okay, at that time, you'll allow...
Tanya, did you hear that?
Yes, when I go over the financial reports, I can go over the FY20 budget document that's in front of you for the 7/31.
Okay.
Say something again so we can see how loud it is for everybody. Can you just say that again, repeat it?
I said when I go over the financial reports, that budget document will be what I'll be reviewing.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem.
Jeff, did you have a question?
I was just going to make a comment on the intergovernmental agreement between Leiden and the district and where we are with it. We have to at least occupy 31% of the square footage of the building in order to lessen the burden of the insurance on the building. It could go from 5,000 all the way up to 19,000. The district right now insures it for $1 million, and then the contents. So we'll probably drop that down, but we have to at least occupy 31% of the square footage of the building. And if we're going to go that far, you know, I'm asking the district that we put into the agreement where our attorney right now is working on it. Unfortunately, she's on vacation. Probably won't be done until the end of the month. And then we'll submit it to the district and hopefully have the school committee be able to vote on it sometime in September at one of your meetings.
Okay.
So that's where we are with that. And then, I don't know if you want us to call Eversource orders for them to read the meter on September 1st. Because it has to be a transfer of the power. We're not going to we don't want the power to be shut off. So I don't know if you'll handle that.
Yeah, we can do that. We'll call Eversource.
I'll have Michelle call your office orders and make some sort of arrangements for, so the bill ends up coming to light.
Okay.
John, can I speak to that real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
So John and I are going to reach out to the town members, the town officials in Leiden to discuss the switching over the Eversource, the fuel, the oil, any utilities that are at the building at this point in time. So we'll be reaching out to you hopefully in the next week or so to coordinate that and make sure everyone's on the same page.
Okay. That's all.
We may have to speak up a little bit because of the rain that just began. So if everyone could just use their outside voices, that would be fantastic. Any other? Oh, go ahead.
One other thing. Since you haven't voted on the revision of the district agreement, it would be my suggestion that somehow, since it's been so long since we revisited the district agreement, maybe you might want to put something in there about school closures and how to handle it. Just a suggestion.
It's in there.
Yeah.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. Any other citizens' comments at this time? No? All right. Moving on. If we could begin by reviewing the May 16th, May 23rd, June 13th, July 11th, and July 18th meeting minutes, please, and we'll begin with the May 16th minutes. Yes, go ahead, Karen.
On page 4,
Can't hear you, Karen.
on page 4 of May 16th, under Roman numeral 8, number 3, letter A, there's the word following, and I don't know, is there something missing there?
Okay. We'll look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else for the May 16th minutes? Okay. Is there a motion to-
I will move that we accept those, that as amended.
Second.
Well, you can't really, because we don't know what's missing, so we'll have to table those.
We need to wait.
Okay, then we'll go on to the next ones. May 23rd.
It looks like number 4 is missing something.
Okay, we'll have to get that reviewed.
That one wasn't televised, because I didn't look that one up,
Okay,
so I couldn't.
we'll go back to
I
our
couldn't
notes.
find it. You know, I didn't do those minutes, I was reading some.
So this one's tabled also.
Yes, we're gonna table that one as well. The revision. June 13th?
Kristen?
Yes.
On the first page, near the bottom, we need to add an E to Ella Pottee's name.
Yeah, I was gonna say her name is Spoke.
Okay. Any other questions or revisions needed that anyone sees? No? Okay.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of June 13th.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay. July 11th minutes.
Isn't it Kathy with a C? Kathy with a C? Yep. Ray, you want to do that?
Got a correction?
Yes.
On the first page, under the, let's see, if I find it. Where was it?
No, wait,
Is that the right
that's the
one?
wrong one.
Which one am I on?
July 18th?
We're
Okay.
doing July 11th.
On July
though.
18th,
No,
under,
July, okay, well, I guess.
under Superintendent Skagel, Dean of Students.
Are you
Okay.
on the July 18th minutes, Sharon, or the July 11th?
I'm on July 18th.
Okay. We're on July 11th still.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Corrections? on the July 11th minutes? Everyone feels that they're accurate? Okay. I was not here, so.
I don't think this is what was just said, but under old business, under number 4, Roman numeral 4, Kathy Hawkins Harrison's name is spelled incorrectly. It's with a C.
Again?
Okay, where is this? Under old business.
On page 2.
Yeah.
Oh, should we see? I always spelled vegetable,
Well, in one of the other minutes, it's spelled correctly, and,
but I didn't do those.
oh, okay, sorry.
All right, that's good to know. I'll fix that in future.
Okay. So there's one correction.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I get that.
Right.
Okay. And we'll pick this up.
I move that we accept them as corrected.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, thank you. All right, July 18th. Go ahead, Sharon.
Now I'll do it. Under the Superintendent Skagel, Dean of Students Kathy Hawkins Harrison, that's spelled wrong. Should be C with a, Kathy with a C.
Kathy's a C.
I'll fix it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Could you change it to a K, Kathy, and make
Make it easier.
It's never come up before, but I think I've always spelled it with a K. I didn't.
Okay, everyone feel the minutes are acceptable?
Several Ks.
Okay. All right, a motion to accept the minutes of the...
Who made the motion?
No one has yet.
Oh,
I will.
I move that we accept the minutes of July 18th.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
I'm abstaining because I wasn't there. Over vacation.
All right. Thanks, everyone. All right, next on our agenda item, we have appearances, the Warwick Community Education Task Force. And everyone should have this handout right here to follow along.
Are there any extras of the presentation on the table?
There are some right up there.
Okay.
All right. Welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for making time for us on your agenda. My name is Tom Wyatt. With me is Adam Holloway and Diana Noble. We're here tonight to give you a brief overview of the exciting community effort that's happening in Warwick. Adam will review the project in just a minute with the PowerPoint. In September, we're going to come back and give you a more
You gotta get
detailed...
closer to that mic.
Closer?
Yep.
We're going to come, in September, we're going to come back and give you a,
It's on.
what's wrong?
Is it on?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Hello?
There you go. That was
You
on.
have to eat it.
I have to
Yeah.
eat it, okay.
Yeah.
All right. In September, we will be giving you a more detailed prospectus and be back to review it before asking for your support. Meantime, we'll continue to work with the superintendent and his staff in order to prepare a submission to DESE. How did we get here? On May 28th, the Warwick Select Board appointed an advisory committee called the Warwick Education Committee to pursue options for the future of the Warwick Community School. That committee grew out of an education task force that's been monitoring our district's financial situation for the last 15 months. You've seen our familiar faces at many school meetings. The Select Board's initiative was backed by the whole town at the 2019 annual town meeting, when town residents voted to commit funds for school planning assistance. As a result, an experienced consultant was hired. She's greatly helped us to shape the innovative plan that we bring to you tonight, and she will continue to work with us throughout the whole process. What makes this project so exciting is the level of interest we've gotten from residents, parents, as well as former and current staff. There have been 8 meetings since the committee was founded, and we've had 15 to 20 people at each, not to mention subcommittee meetings. Warwickians are rolling up their sleeves to assist local elementary education, as they did when the school was built 20 years ago. And the new ideas and effort in Warwick can really assist our district as we all strive for sustainability. We really look forward to working with you. So I'm going to turn it over to Adam. Eat that thing.
Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Thank you, Tom, and thank you to the school committee and Superintendent Shagel for giving us time this evening. So up here we have PowerPoint, as well as you guys have a copy of it. I want to just let everyone know to keep in mind that this is a 50,000-foot overview. There's only 11 slides, and actually only 8 of them have content. We kept this presentation short because we know the school committee's time is important, and we don't wish to bog you down with the infamous death by PowerPoint. Been there, it's tough. So given that there's only a few slides, we asked to hold questions to the end because some of your questions most likely will be answered during the PowerPoint. And understandably, there will be a lot of questions around the financial piece. That's why we brought in Diana Noble to the table tonight to assist with that aspect. So what is our intent with the Horace Mann 2 conversion? The intent is to redesign Warwick Community School and keep it as a PVRSD, PVRS district school. It will be an independently governed, chartered conversion school with high standards for learning, innovation, use of technology curriculum, and lower per pupil cost. Conversion of Warwick Community School requires support from the Pioneer Valley Regional School District School Committee to complete the application. So we're going to jump right into the process with you applying for this conversion. Step 1 in the process is what we call the prospectus. Now, on the outside of that, I want everyone to keep in mind that this is a maximum of a 20-page document. So it is truly a high-level overview of our plans. So within the prospectus, we have an introduction of the town, overview of the school, program overview, some of our organizational viability information such as board, management, importantly our 5-year budget plan, and also equally important is some of the key elements that we're working on right now with the memorandum of understanding with the school committee. There's more, there's another slide on that coming up, so we'll go a little bit further into that. By redesigning the school and utilizing the Horace Mann charter option, Warwick Education Committee has identified multiple ways it intends to reduce costs and provide the same quality education Warwick Community School is known for. So we've identified the 3 main categories through our work as curriculum, administration, and non-instructional service costs. With that, we also want to bring up, and we'll touch on it again further later, but there's, with the successful completion of the application, there's a $500,000 startup grant that comes along with this. That's used for non-operational costs for the first 3 years, so we can utilize that for several options. Along with that, we're also working on a revenue generation component, so we can continue to offset the funds to run the school. The application for the Horace Mann Conversion School requires a 5-year budget plan. Each year, the Board of Trustees of the Horace Mann School will submit a budget request for the following fiscal year to the superintendent. Operating funds for the Horace Mann Conversion School come directly from the school district in which the school is located. Horace Mann Conversion Schools are eligible for state and federal grants. eligible for state and federal startup grants as well. Chapter 70, transportation reimbursement and choice fundings are unchanged in this model. Additionally, teachers remain in the current union. So the memorandum of understanding. Memorandum of understanding articulates the ways the conversion school and regional district work together. We'll be looking at, so regarding that, we're looking at enrollment, district services, busing, grants, and special education as part of what our partnership will be with the memorandum of understanding with the school district. And we've been in contact with the superintendent on multiple occasions. He's actually attended a few meetings with us. We identified early on that it made good sense to bring him in and help work through this process with him, and now we're bringing it to you so that you can understand where we're at and what our intent is. So what are our next steps moving forward? We're going to continue from this point forward to research and draft the prospectus. So the second line here is an interesting one. Discusses the submittal to the Warwick Select Board for approval. Seems a little odd. The Select Board is actually the submitting party for the final application to DESE per DESE's rules. So basically, the Education Committee authors the prospectus and the final application in collaboration with the Superintendent's Office and the School Committee, and then the Warwick Select Board submits the final product to DESE. So that's a little background on that, just so you understand why that's in there. Our target date for providing a copy of the prospectus to all of you is September 12th, 2019. At that time, it is a 20-page document, as we discussed, and it's going to take some time to review. We don't think it should be taken lightly, and we would like to work in discussing that. So with that, it may make sense to have another meeting to discuss that further, with the understanding that we have a deadline of September 27th to submit the prospectus to DESE. Again, we're going to continue to develop, after the submission of the prospectus, the MOU with the superintendent and the select board. And as we understand it from DESE, in October, November timeframe, we're going to receive the invitation to submit the full application. Keep in mind that we're working on the application concurrently with the prospectus. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So anticipated dates moving forward from here. And we understand that this is really a short timeline. And we're working on some deadlines ourselves, so we understand that we're throwing a lot at you in a short amount of time. The school committee will review the application and MOU, so the target for that review will be December of this year. The target for the completed application submitted by the select board to DESE will be December of 2019. In February of 2020, the Commissioner and Board of Elementary and Secondary Education approved the grant application. So with that approval, in March 2020, we'll start to receive the startup grant monies. And then, assuming all goes well, which we believe it will, in August of 2020, the redesigned Warwick Community School will open, operating within PVRSD, and it will be the first Horace Mann II conversion school in Massachusetts. To summarize our presentation, the Warwick School redesign effort is clearly a community-wide effort. As many as 50 people are involved. Warwick is committed to continuing elementary education in Warwick. People are excited about more ways to have an exceptional elementary program in Warwick. The redesign will provide both new ideas and financial stability for the future. And we look forward to continued collaboration with district and appreciate information assistance from the central office. So one of the things I want to highlight with this is truly, this is a win-win situation for both the school committee and the town of Warwick. And I've just, it's not up on the slides, but I threw a couple of notes together. For the district, we're going to research into actual costs of different schools within the PVRSD, the per pupil costs. And we're going to provide that information to the district. We're going to research into cost-saving redesign ideas for Warwick's initiative. Innovative ideas generated could be shared, and statewide recognition for the superintendent and the school committee when this comes off and it works. And obviously for Warwick, we get to keep our elementary school in Warwick. So now that I've dropped all of that on you in a short amount of time, my timer says 12 minutes, so it was probably 10 minutes that I read all that. I'm sure everybody has a lot of questions, so we're willing to take on whatever you have at this point, and we'll go back to that slide. Obviously, we're available to ask any questions via email.
Hi, back under the page of the memorandum of understanding, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullets there. I mean, I sort of understand what those mean, but I'd like an explanation. When the time comes, you're going to have to do it tonight, but I'd like an explanation of each of those bullets as to what they mean, okay? And then for before the 9/27, a couple of weeks before the 9/27 meeting, we would need to have that full 20-page document at least 2 weeks in advance so that the full committee can really take a look at it and understand exactly, to be fair about all of this,
Absolutely.
to make sure we give it the attention that it deserves.
Yeah.
We would need to see that full document plenty of time before the meeting. So that would be very helpful to all of us.
Right.
And I think any documents that you have that is going to help you get closer to a fruition.
One of the, we plan on continually working with the superintendent, and we're inviting all of you to join in on this. So if there's questions, you're welcome. We hold public meetings, so all of you are welcome, and we can get that information to you. In regards to the deadlines, our plan is to have it to all of you by the 12th, which is
2 weeks before.
2 weeks before the deadline. So with that, we talked about it, and I don't know how that works with everybody's schedules here. I know it's a big ask for us, but we thought that maybe it makes sense to have a meeting after the 12th for all of you to actually sit down and discuss it, but that's totally up to you. We just thought about that.
That's pretty big, but we'll take a look and see. Thank you.
Go ahead, Jean.
I don't have my calendar in front of me, but what is our meeting date?
The 12th.
14th?
September 12th, is it?
Yeah. My concern is that to review this thoroughly in a regular meeting is not attainable, to do it justice. So my feeling is we would have to have a meeting just for the purpose of reviewing the 20-page document.
I think that's what they're asking for.
That's
Yeah.
what they want. But we were wondering about the 19th.
The 19th.
The following Thursday.
Well, I guess that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
bring up, maybe settle on a date for that.
Yeah, that would only give us a week to go over that document, so.
But because we would be going over the document on the 19th.
If we get it the 12th, it's only a week to the 19th, that's what I'm saying, and
But-
I'd like to have a little more
Tight
time.
timeline for everybody.
It is, but so I think we need to push ourselves a little bit to review that document.
I think we need 2 weeks. That's what I'm asking for,
The
so.
20th, the
Go ahead, Sue.
26th.
I guess I'm wondering, could we aim for the 19th, and that would also be a time when people would get a lot more information and maybe get some of their initial questions answered, and then if the committee had additional questions for the working group, there would be time to come together perhaps once more before the deadline of the 27th. Because
That's
it
only
may
a
take
week.
discussion to sort of unearth all our questions.
Well, typically, that's been our that's how we've operated. We've always had lots of questions after a presentation, so I want to make sure that we allow for ample time for discussion, questions, answering, further discussion. As we've seen before when we've been creating documents, it's taken us some time.
She's the one.
David, did you have something you want to say?
I would just ask the committee, you just got a lot laid on you, a whole lot of new concepts. I would suggest, though, that you think about, what we're being asked at this juncture, because this is part of the process, and this is necessary. But what would be the advantage to Pioneer District to saying no to Warwick? So go home and think about that. You'd save Warwick from a lot of work, possibility of failure. I don't see a downside to the school committee myself, but if you're thinking that you can't support this, or you need 2 weeks to think about a concept paper, think about why, how would it benefit Pioneer to say no to what is envisioned to be a win-win situation. And if we can't get to win-win, we're not going to have a memorandum of agreement with the teachers involved, or the district, or...
Okay. I'm going to take Diana. Diana, did you have something to say?
It's just a follow-up to what David's saying about where we are in the process. The prospectus is something we need to put together as a high-level overview.
You get closer to the microphone.
Right. The prospectus is just a high-level overview to be presented to DESE so that DESE can decide whether to allow us to prepare a full application. We certainly would expect to be able to give you the elements of the application and the full application with more time and more consideration. It's just that we do have to have a prospectus in just to get permission to submit an application, and we have to have that in by this 27th of September. And I know it's a busy month for everybody.
Sharon?
I'm feeling pushed against the wall, and I'm feeling rushed, and I really don't want to do that. I don't want to feel rushed with this process. I want to give it the attention it deserves, and I want to do it methodically and be sure we're going to be making the right decisions here.
Hi, just for the benefit of people who may not know who I am, I'm Lynn Hansel, and I'm here as one of the two representatives for the PVREA. And I also teach 5th and 6th grade in Warwick, and I thank you guys so much for coming. I feel like at this stage in your planning process, it would be really important for you to hear from me, and I am also representing the other teachers in Warwick, who we have had lengthy conversations, so I'm not just speaking for myself. We do really fully support any effort at all to keep an elementary school in Warwick in whatever form the community chooses to do that, including a Horace Mann II charter school. Some of us are even willing to work with the subcommittees as resources in their curriculum planning. I myself have already done that, and I'm happy to continue to do that. That said, a few years ago, we were also approached with the prospect of a Horace Mann II conversion. And at that time, the teaching staff was unanimous in expressing our desires to work not in a charter school, but with an established public school within the district. At that time, I found a section in the DESE information about Horace Mann II charters that gives teachers within the school that's being converted the right to be placed elsewhere within the same district at a comparable grade level according to and within the guidelines of the teacher's contract. I would say if plans move forward to convert the Warwick Community School to Horace Mann II, the teachers will look into this further, and we encourage the Warwick Education Committee and the school committee to do the same in preparation for the MOU. And it does say within the PowerPoint that you presented and in the research that I looked at today for the application that collective bargaining employees continue to be members of the local collective bargaining unit, but then it also goes on to say employees may be exempt from specific provisions of the local collective bargaining agreement, including work rules, to the extent provided by the charter and the executed memorandum of understanding. So we would really like to work with you in creating an MOU that, whether or not I personally chose to stay at this charter school, would be able to help guide you in terms of crafting something that would seem reasonable perhaps to other teachers you would hire on. It's been very notable that this would be the first Horace Mann II charter conversion school in Massachusetts, and there hasn't already been past practice established to protect the teachers in these cases. And this is such a multifaceted thing, and I wear so many hats within the community, and here at the table tonight, I feel I need to represent the teachers in this case. Thank you.
So a couple things. I have some questions I'd like to ask. So you said you've been meeting. There have been about 50 people a part of this group. When have you met? How long have you been meeting for? What is the schedule for your meetings? Because we've not received any information inviting us to the meetings so that we could sit in and be a part of it. So I'm just looking for that sort of information so that we can all be able to have that information if we're going to be involved in this process.
Absolutely. So we have scheduled at this juncture every Tuesday night from 6:45 till whenever, and our goal is not to be till midnight every Tuesday night, but the entire month of August, every Tuesday night, the town hall, second floor, we will be there. We've been meeting multiple times. I think, how many meetings have we had, Tom?
8.
We've had 8 meetings. Some of them they've all been posted because it is a public meeting. But what we are happy to do at this juncture moving forward, obviously, is to send both the superintendent and you the notice of what we're going to cover. And if you'd like,
develop an agenda, I'm assuming.
yes, yeah, it's posted just like your open meetings, and we have minutes, and we're happy to share those as well.
So that would be fantastic if you could send those to Jonathan and myself, and then I can disseminate it to the committee.
Absolutely.
That way people can be informed, and if able to attend, I think that would, 6:45, correct?
6:45,
start
yes.
time.
Yep.
Warwick Town Hall.
Warwick Town Hall, second floor,
Second floor.
the month of August.
Yes.
Yeah, ask that, Karen.
Question.
Yes, go ahead, Karen.
Would that notice of those meetings, if it involves people from the school district, have to be posted in all the towns?
Correct. So if we have a quorum, so that's something we have to also talk about.
That wasn't your question, was it?
No. Those weekly meetings on Tuesday nights.
Yep.
Would their agendas and notices of meetings need to be posted at all of our town halls or websites?
I'll ask
Because
you.
it is district business ultimately.
I'm going to run that by legal counsel.
Okay.
Thank you.
John, if you had it posted on the district website, that would cover it from the school committee
Yeah, we could do that
perspective.
too.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll ask
it
council. We'll ask.
doesn't further meetings.
We'll ask council. Could be an open meeting violation.
One other thing on the prospectus, just keep in mind, it's not a binding document, so saying, as the school committee saying, yes, we're okay with it, means you're okay with us taking the next step, which is continually developing the memorandum of understanding and submitting that. So it's not a binding document to say, we absolutely want this to occur. It's basically saying, we see what you're doing, and we would like you to continue on and fully develop this. So keep that in mind when we're talking about the prospectus. It's not a binding document. And further to Lynn's comments, we welcome the teachers within Warwick Community School to attend. We've always invited them, and we will continue to. And we've identified, Chris has identified that particular issue within the MOU as something that has to be developed. And so we're aware of it, and it's definitely part of what we want, because obviously we want this to work out in everybody's favor.
Adam, I don't know if you want to mention that you've been working with a consultant, or if you did that, and maybe a little bit about her and her background, because she's pretty knowledgeable.
Yeah, the consultant's name is Susan Hollins. She's a former superintendent in Greenfield. She's also on the school committee in Greenfield. She's been involved with the Greenfield Commonwealth Virtual School in getting that going. And she's been also involved in startup of several schools, including small rural elementary schools. So she's got a lot of background that really relates to what we're doing. And one thing to know about her is that she's an Energizer bunny, and she has been working really hard. Yes, the town has hired her, but her pay rate would be extremely low if you look at the amount of hours she's been putting in and the amount of emails we get and the discussion. It's been really pretty incredible.
Think on the lines of decimal points to a penny per hourly rate is what she's giving us. Truly, it's amazing what she's bringing to the table for us.
We spoke about having a meeting on the 19th. That's only 7 days before your deadline. So if Sharon indicated that we might need another day after that, maybe we should set up the following week, say Monday, so that whatever we had to say could get digested by you in order to submit it on the 27th. Does that make sense?
What's the date?
The 27th is the day they need it. That's a Friday. And the 23rd is Monday. And that would give them 3 days before they had to submit. I mean, if we did it later on in the week, it might get a little dicey for them. I mean, I think we need to set the date, and if we don't need it, we can always cross it out, but if we don't do it, we're not gonna be there.
Great.
Pat, you're saying a meeting on the 19th followed by a meeting on the 23rd?
Yeah.
For them to respond to questions that were raised at the 19th?
Right.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
3 more meetings besides the 12th school committee?
School committee and 2 meetings, the 19th
Plus the ones you come to.
and the 23rd, and
And the 27th?
The 27th, we don't have anything to do. That's to do with
Their day.
Warwick. That's their deal.
So if we have a regularly scheduled meeting for September 12th, given it's the beginning of the school year, I would assume our agenda is going to be quite lengthy. Then you're proposing that we schedule 2 more meetings, correct,
Right.
Pat?
Yeah, that was
One on the 19th to review the documentation and be able to ask questions, and give another one on the 23rd to give our final feedback on the matter, so that they can present on the 27th to submit the prospectus.
Exactly. That makes sense. Do you have time enough between Thursday and Monday? All right.
What would be the deadline for them to get us the prospectus?
They said they would get it to us on the 12th, by the 12th. It's in the document anyhow.
Right, that's what it says.
And
Is any way that we could get that a little sooner?
I'm afraid we're pushing it as it
I know, I'm
is.
just, for us to have just a week to review it with everything else that's going on with the beginning of school is gonna be also tight.
Yeah.
So a question on that would be, and I think if we could get it faster, the minute we have it done, obviously we could get it to you. That would be ideal to give you all as much time as possible. The other question I have is there some way we can collaborate on this so when the 12th comes, you're not surprised at what you're seeing? So is there a way to have representation at these meetings, or you know, I know it's a tall ask, I really do, but.
Go ahead, Diana.
I think certainly what we could do, starting with what you were asking for, Sharon, is we could certainly very soon give you a more detailed outline of what needs to be in the prospectus. Some of the definitions you were asking for, just so that, you know, and very soon we could give you something and we could just email it to all of you. So you know what is in the prospectus, what the goal of the prospectus is, And I think we can work towards getting you something that is an understandable draft. If we can't get you the whole thing before the 12th, we'll get you something before the
That would be
12th.
great.
So that you can at least work towards, so that we can all be on the same page when you pick it up and start looking at it after your very long meeting on the 12th.
Is there a way for you to provide us with the minutes of the meetings thus far?
Yes.
So if you could email those to us, then I can at least disseminate those to everyone so people can begin to read and see what has occurred thus far. That might help start the process.
You can certainly do that. It's no problem.
Go ahead, Judy.
I like what Diana just suggested because it's going to answer a lot, it's going to answer a lot of questions in my mind about some of the basics of the prospectus, which would be extremely helpful.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. So, setting the meetings, those 2 meetings, is that something that we want to put in place?
Yes.
So,
So we're doing the motion?
yeah, please.
I'd like to move that we set the 19th of September, followed by the 23rd at 7 o'clock for 2 special meetings to discuss the Warwick Charter School proposal.
I second.
Was that you, Jen? All in favor? Okay. 7 p.m.
Anybody opposed?
No, I don't believe so. Were you in favor?
I abstain.
You abstained.
I don't like it, but I don't oppose.
I just let Stacy know so she can post those. Are there any other questions on behalf of the committee thus far? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate, we appreciate your work.
Good work.
Yeah.
You try.
Yeah.
Forward.
All you can do.
All right. Okay, superintendent report.
I'm happy to report that PVRSD has been awarded a Coordinated School Health Services grant for $70,000 a year for 4 years, which can be renewed. This will support a half-time nurse manager and part-time health education coordinator, among other things. I am very appreciative to Suzanne Linden, the school nurse at Warwick Community School and PVRSD nurse leader, and all the nurses throughout the district who provided assistance and support in obtaining this grant. The nurse manager will serve as an administrator to oversee and assist the current nursing team in the district. The nurse manager's primary role will be to ensure that all 4 health offices meet state standards of care and that district nurses are well supported in all aspects of providing health services to our student populations. The health educator will serve our 3 elementary schools with regular health education. The health educator will travel between the 3 elementary schools, teaching a comprehensive health curriculum to grades pre-K through 6. Topics that will be taught include basic human biology, anatomy and physiology, human growth and development, including puberty education to grades 4, 5, and 6, health and wellness, infection control, nutrition and diet, mental health and wellness, and substance use abuse prevention. The health educator will work closely with school health staff, school nurses, and the nurse manager to develop and implement curriculum material and to help reinforce concepts to students. The district nurses continue to work on emergency preparedness. They have attended the school emergency triage training and stop the bleed training programs. They also established collaboration with the Greenfield Community College nursing program and mentored GCC nursing students this spring, which will be continuing this fall. The district nurses have continued with the goal of promoting health and safety in our schools. Using clinical knowledge and judgment, school nurses provide health care to students and staff, perform health screenings, and coordinate referrals. Northfield Elementary School, you've probably seen a few days ago in the Greenfield Recorder, as a new playground, thanks to the school's parent-teacher organization. More than 30 volunteers gathered to install the new playground equipment, landscape, and mulch. I want to thank the PTO and all of the volunteers that put their valuable time and effort to make this happen. I'd also like to thank Northfield's Community Preservation Committee for contributing a $30,000 Community Preservation Act grant to cover over half of the cost of this project, as well as Lowe's Small Toolbox for Education grant, which contributed $2,000. The total cost of the project was about $55,000. The old play structures were removed and recycled by the Northfield Highway Department, which also helped to excavate the area to prepare for the new structures, so special thanks to them as well. Tim Brandel and the custodial staff have been working extremely hard this summer getting the schools ready for the start of the year. They did a tremendous job moving everything out of Pearl Roads Elementary School and cleaning the building for the turnover to the town of Leiden. For capital projects at Bernardston Elementary School, the new sidewalk has been started and should be completed within the week or next week. Several new outlets have been added to 4 different classrooms, and the freezer is being resealed and all piping re-insulated. The town of Bernardston is replacing the water heater booster for the dishwasher, so thank you. At Warwick, the Energy Committee, through the Green Communities Grant, is adding insulation to the entire attic of the school and has just recently finished installing variable speed motors to the boiler system and removed glycol from the system. At Northfield Elementary School, several classrooms have been recarpeted and the computer room is being retiled. The cupola in the south building has been repainted and the playground fence that was damaged has been replaced. This summer, the remaining attic space needing insulation was completed thanks to the Green Communities Grant. The front entrance door to the south building was replaced this spring, and starting soon, a new roof membrane will be put on between the building connectors. At Pioneer, 3 classrooms have been recarpeted and the variable speed motors and the boiler pumps have been replaced. I really want to thank our custodial staff for all their hard work and dedication to keeping our schools clean, safe, and looking great. Faculty's first day is Monday, August 26th. That afternoon, I'm hosting a staff appreciation event after school at the Pioneer Valley Indoor Karting in Hatfield. All district staff is invited to race and participate in some fun team building challenges and enjoy good food and refreshments. It will be a chance for all of us to come together, meet new colleagues, and have some fun as we start the school year. The students' first day is August 28th. I'm very excited to have our new principals, Kevin Burke and Kelly Carrier, on board, who have been working incredibly hard this summer getting things organized and hiring new staff. I am also thrilled about the new teachers and staff in the district and our new curriculum coordinator and grants manager, Ariel LaRoe. And we'll be updating the committee at our next meeting about all of our new hires.
The big reveal.
Yes, the big reveal. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Okay, the Director of Finance report. Tanya, are you still with us?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I just want to start real quick with the report that you guys have in front of you. It's the only financial report outside of the school lunch report that was presented this evening. This is strictly to show that we are falling within the 1/12 budget of $1,185,350 that we were granted by the state until our school district budget passes. We are hoping for that to pass on the 19th. However, if it does not pass in Bernardston as of August 26th, if Warwick does not hold a vote, it will automatically pass 3 of those 4 towns. With that being said, you can see that we are within the budget constraints of the 1/12. For the month of July, this is a little different than you guys are used to seeing. You're used to seeing it dated the date of the warrant, but we're required to not necessarily report monthly, but as far as knowing that we're staying within this 1/12 budget, it is on a monthly basis. So this is the July 31st report for you guys. Does anyone have any questions?
Can you just clarify which document we're looking at?
So the 731 PVRSD expenditure report by category that has our 16 categories, and it just has a total budget at the bottom, and that is the monthly budget of $1,185,350 that we are operating on currently by the state.
Thank you.
Okay. So, and obviously we are under budget for the month of July, which one of the reasons we were able to do that is myself and Brenda worked with our insurance providers and some of our other vendors that we usually pay annually to work out an agreement with them to either pay monthly or quarterly in the event that we were continued on this 1/12 budget for more than a couple months. So we appreciate them working with us on that so that we could get all of the school supplies and everything ordered for the kids and not have to make them wait. In addition, year-end close is in progress. You guys don't have any year-end reports in front of you tonight because we are currently working on closing out grants, doing payroll accruals, as well as some other verifications of fund balances. There are no deficits in any of our funds as part of this closeout, so I'm happy to announce that. I think it's the first time in 10 years that that's happened because of the school lunch deficit that we've been carrying. Some of the other things I've been doing is, John mentioned, we have 2 new principals on staff. I've been working with all the administration along with John to review staffing and how that affects our budgets at the school. As John mentioned, we have a bunch of new staff coming on. We had a number of retirements and other staff that moved on since this budget was written. So we're working on tracking all those changes and how it's affecting our budget. In addition, as I mentioned at our last meeting, one of the things I was concerned about was some sped costs that might be unanticipated. We did get news that one of our grants that pays for sped funding and staff is coming in at about $100,000 less than what we received last year. So we've been working on this, and it appears that even with the savings from some of the staff replacements, we will still have a small shortage, but we won't have exact numbers until all of our staff is in place at the beginning of the school year. So we'll be able to update and work on that once the school year has actually started and all of the staffing is in place. So I'll provide another update on this in September. I've also been working with the new food service director, Mike Honorato, to get ready for the school year, making sure all the new staff that's hired. We've been arranging for training. We're also coordinating with the tech department to get the POS systems, which is point of sale systems, back into all the elementary schools, along with creating the process where all the school lunches will be recorded in a more timely and automated fashion than they had been in the past. As I mentioned at the last meeting that I spoke about this, we were literally checking a box for the kids when they got a lunch, and they were being manually entered in the computer after the fact. So that process is going to go away. So we're making some efficiencies there. I'm working on the cash flow projection with the treasurer currently. I'm also, along with superintendent's schedule, we've been having discussions and providing information as requested by Sue Hollins for the Warwick Horace Mann model that they're investigating. Some of the projects that I'll be working on in FY20 going into the school year, I'm going to be working with the school administrative assistants and streamlining our student activity record keeping, to assist the student activity compliance, to be in compliance with our new student activity policy that you all recently voted. I will be starting hopefully very shortly after the year-end close and the audit, working on next year's budget spreadsheets, as well as updating our chart of accounts. So that's what I have going on. The audit is scheduled again, as I mentioned at previous meetings, for the week of September 9th. I will be in the district working that entire week and attending that school committee meeting live on September 12th. And at that time, we'll have August financial reports as well as all year-end financial reports for the general fund and all of our funds. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Yes, can I ask what part of the health and life insurance is the $675,000?
Did you hear that, Tanya?
No, I did not.
What part of the health and life insurance is the $675,000?
So the $675,000 that's in the health and life includes our first payment. We pay our Franklin Regional retirement, and we were able to pay that annual lump sum, which is about $400 and something thousand. The remainder of that is our monthly cost to the district for health and life insurance.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions on what I've covered so far?
No, I don't think so,
Okay.
Tanya. I don't think anyone has any other questions, so
All right.
we're going to
Does anybody have any questions on the accounts payable that you were presented this evening? a no.
Hold on one second, Tanya.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions regarding that? No? You?
I have a comment. Thank you for doing that categorical one-page expenditure report. Appreciate it.
Did you hear that,
Not a problem. And, you know,
Well, I know it's work.
I do want to apologize for not having all the reports that you guys are used to, but we are waiting on the budget to be approved. We're operating on a 1/12 budget, and we changed up some of where our accounts are falling this year, so we're working to get that all in line so that when the budget's approved, we'll be able to produce those same reports that you guys are used to.
Thank you, Tanya.
No problem. Next on my agenda, and hopefully the last, I think, is the school lunch report. I'm very happy to announce that for the first time in 10 years, we are going to be reporting a small surplus in our food service school lunch fund. Currently, it is at $2,024.70. That is not completely closed out for the year yet. We do have some accruals to do, so that surplus number could potentially increase. But we do not expect to have a deficit in the school lunch moving into next year. I expect the school lunch fund to be more profitable in FY20 as we have hired a new food service director. He starts August 16th. He has great food cost management from his background in restaurants and other school districts, and him and I will be working very closely to update these reports and to be able to actually provide you guys with more in-depth detail of the school lunch report, and hopefully align some of the expenses better with the schools by doing more inventory management reports, because currently some of the food costs are just allocated based on a percentage, not truly allocated based on how many meals are served at the schools. So we're going to be working on, you know, making the accuracy of the numbers that are reported by school more accurate as well.
Great. Thank you, Tanya. Does anyone have any questions regarding the lunch report? No?
I just want to say thank you. It's been hard to watch it be so hard to get a handle on for so long, and it's just great. I really appreciate it.
Well, I want to say, you know, thank you to our prior food service director for working with me as we worked through projections throughout the year to kind of figure out where we needed to be with our food costs, as well as our prior assistant superintendent, Gail, who was able to look at our staffing. And I think those two things were a huge player in being able to cut some costs this year.
Fantastic.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
No other questions for Tanya? Nope, no? Okay. Thanks, Tanya.
Thank you, Tanya.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone received the warrants? Those are signed. Subcommittee reports. Negotiation subcommittee report.
We have 2 meetings scheduled. One on the 29th of August at 7 here, and another one on September 4th at 7 here. And then, I guess we have another one too, on the 10th of September. So here. And the 25th of September. So that's 4 we have scheduled. And hopefully, we'll get it settled with our non-professional people.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Building and grounds?
Now that I'm back from vacation, I'll set up a meeting and hopefully we can get together with the grants people.
Great. Thank you. Curriculum and personnel?
We have not met since our last meeting,
Okay.
so nothing to report.
All right, thank you. Budget subcommittee?
Currently, we'll be waiting for the approval of for the passing of the budget. Once that's done, as Tanya said, she's, can't finalize the numbers, so once that's done, hopefully, we'll schedule a meeting, probably sometime first part in September, maybe even the same night as the school committee meeting, but prior to it. But I'll talk with Tanya, and the subcommittee members will get a notice out.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
And the district agreement subcommittee report. Oh, I checked it off before we went over, I'm sorry, policy. Sorry.
So we have not met since our last meeting here, but we're going to be looking at the exit interview policy next, and then I'm hopefully grabbing the binder from Kristen when she's done reading a little bit. and then I'll be making a plan from there.
Perfect, thank you. And then the district agreement subcommittee report.
We will set up a meeting now that people are back from vacation.
Okay, great, thank you. Old business? There is none. New business. We have 2 MOUs in front of us. John, do you want to speak about?
Ariel's going to present them.
Okay, Ariel, the floor is yours then.
Hold.
You did give us one.
There's just, we did get them. Well. Thank you. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Ariel. So we have 2 MOUs for the Pioneer Valley Regional Education Association on the board, on the table tonight. One of them, the first on the agenda, is regarding the athletic director. I can't read them without, there it is, okay, it's this one. Which we, at the last meeting in June, the last meeting that I was at in June, we presented the memorandum then that was switching, it was altering the athletic director position as it is currently in the contract, which is a part teaching position, and then on top of that, the athletic director is working both in school and outside of school. And if you recall, there were a bunch of questions asked. I had raised an issue with it, and then it got voted down. It is here presented again after being renegotiated, and the athletic director, Gina Johnson, who is here, has been a part of the negotiations all along, and as you know or may remember, the question, the issue of contention for us was about posting the position. So it had, after that, it was agreed that Gina Johnson is the athletic director for this upcoming year. We were able to alter, again, the number of blocks, because it turned out that the number of blocks that she was going to need to teach was, or that we were going to need to cover with the gym teacher was not 28, it was in fact 23. So that left some time during the school day so that she could do some of the athletic director work during the school day, so that was more amenable. And a number of other elements were renegotiated that are to her satisfaction and to the PVREA's satisfaction. So it is being put back on the table with that agreement. Do you want to say anything? Okay. You will notice that my name is no longer at the bottom. That is Elizabeth Armstrong, because she is the vice president of the PVREA, and as you heard a few minutes ago, I am taking the position of the curriculum coordinator and grants manager. So after presenting these 2 MOUs to you, I'm officially stepping down as president of the union. Not because I don't love it, and not because I don't support the teachers, but because I'm moving into that role. So I want to clarify that as well. But I'm wrapping this business up. Okay, so do we want to talk about that one first? And Lisa Armstrong could not be here tonight. She's on vacation. She's coming back tomorrow, and so she will be signing these in the next few days. And this has been discussed. The PVREA met, the executive board met last week, and we've discussed both of these. So,
does anyone have any questions about this? Go ahead, Sue.
So the position is not going to be posted?
Yeah, correct.
Gina, she
Okay.
just said that.
Yeah.
Right. Just wanted to clarify.
It does say in the MOU that at the end of this next year, the parties will enter into renegotiation again, so.
The motion to accept?
Before I just want to clarify, this is coming before us because Gina is now going to be the PE teacher in a different way because we restructured.
She's the only gym teacher
Right.
for
Right.
the
Yep.
middle and high school.
Okay.
And it was that, so before, she was teaching gym part of the day and was athletic director the rest of the day and beyond. And so part of the time during the day that she was the athletic director, determined how much she was paid over and above for being athletic director. So once that was taken away, then she had to do that much more on top. So it had to get renegotiated.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Oh,
Go
thank
ahead,
you,
Mike.
that helps.
Like to move to accept this.
Oh, hold on.
If we accept and have a second, it can be discussed further. We can have discussion after we move.
No, I do
Second.
have a question.
Hold on a second. Sharon?
The 23 scheduled blocks that will be taught, is that enough?
Yes.
And so
And then
that
the-
meets all the criteria that DESI has?
That covers all the classes.
Well,
That's,
yeah,
that's
but-
all the sections of gym that are running.
Every section of the phys ed classes, that covers everything.
But that's all our students need?
Mm-hmm.
Some students get like a double block gym, some students.
All students will get 2 blocks of PE a week, which is how it's always been. And so in order to cover all of those classes, we needed the 23. So yes, all students will get a PE class twice a week.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So is there a motion?
There is.
Thanks, Mike.
Make a motion to move this as accepted, be accepted as read.
Okay. Abby, second? Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Opposed?
I'm recused.
And
You were kidding.
abstention? Okay.
Okay.
All right, next MOU?
Yeah, moving on to the second memorandum. This is pertaining to the upcoming school year only, 2019-2020, regarding the position of principal at Warwick Community School, which will be a combined principal and teaching position. So as it tells you, said position will be compensated in accordance with the teacher's salary scale, but there will be an additional $10,000 stipend. It will not be for this year. That person who is a teacher but is taking on the role of principal will not be part of the bargaining unit of the PVREA for the year, taking a leave of absence, and instead will be, as it says, employed in accordance with a separate individual employment contract. The PVREA agrees that if the combined position of principal teacher is no longer needed after the year, then the employee who fills that position will retain their seniority. So we're allowing the potential person to step out and then step back in. They will not accumulate seniority during that year, but, and that's.
Resume at their level.
Yeah, they will resume at their level, right? They won't get knocked down. So I think Lynn will speak more to this, but this is an exception to the rule. And from my perspective as now outgoing president, I argued for it to the MTA because of Warwick's special situation and because we are where we are at and we're not sure of the future, and it is a small community school, and this is not recommended to have a principal teacher. But it happens that principals pick up a class here or there. So we brought it to the PVREA last week, and they did agree. And I'll let Lynn speak as she is our Warwick representative.
Thanks. I do want to assure everyone that, the teachers and the staff at Warwick Community School strongly support this MOU and agree that's in the best interest of the teachers, the support staff, the students, and the families to have this model. I think it would be the least disruptive model to everyone's lives in this coming 2019-20 year. And I want to thank you, Ariel, for going to bat for it, and to the members of the executive board, the PVREA, and to Superintendent Schedule for putting it together, because it is out of the ordinary. We recognize that in these times of transition within the district, there has been the need to create MOUs such as this and the athletic position. I know I was not able to attend the executive board meeting last week, but another teacher from Warwick did, and we've been in close communication, and I've touched base with Ariel. The negotiations via MOU is a little bit contentious within the union because it's a bit of a slippery slope. Moving forward, not looking at these and not looking back, but moving forward, really encourage all hires, inter-district transfers, and changes in working conditions to be done in accordance with the contract, within the contract. And just speaking as a teacher within the district over this past year and through the sort of turmoil within the district in general, the lack of transparency and representation in hiring situations has created tension among and within the staff or within the teaching staff. The district.
So Lynn, if I could just interrupt you there, I really want to keep us focused on this MOU.
Yeah, I'm at the end right here.
Okay.
I'm just saying, moving forward.
And I think that's something that can be discussed within the negotiation subcommittee.
Okay.
So if you could bring that to their attention, that would be the appropriate place to do so.
Great,
Thank
I can
you.
do that, thanks.
Okay, do we have, yes, Mike?
I'd like to make a motion to move this as accepted as read.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, David. Any discussion? None? Okay, all in favor?
Jim, are you
Okay,
in favor of this
opposed?
MOU?
Yeah, why not?
You're in favor or opposed?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Did you get?
I actually did
Ann,
read
did
it.
you get Jim's? Okay, all right. Okay.
If I could just have the floor for one more moment?
Sure.
So I just wanted to let you all know the process that will be happening as I am stepping down. The PVREA voted in May because at that point, what was going to happen with Warwick was uncertain, whether it was going to close or not. The vote had not happened. So the members voted not to have our yearly election and voted to extend it until October. So my term was up in May, but we extended it to October, and we're going to have a vote then. The membership also voted unanimously to go to a co-president model, so that there will be an elementary president and there will be a middle high school president. So in October, there will be elections, and that will take effect November 1st. In the interim, Lisa Armstrong, who has been the vice president, is going to step in my place and will be attending meetings and meeting with the MTA representatives. So I'm going to let you all know that, and also it's been a pleasure working with all of you, some of you for more time than others, as the president, and I'm very committed to this district and will continue to be in this role. So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, the discussion of Director of Finance working arrangement. So, excuse me, so Tanya has moved to Florida, as some of you may have heard. Tanya's intentions are to continue to work for the district, continue as she has been working for us, but to be working remotely. One of the things that we have to do per the recommendation of our legal counsel would be to develop an MOU to arrange for that remote working setup. That would be done within executive session. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone comments? Go ahead, Sharon.
Do we have recommendations from DESI or from the state overseer as to how, it might be best to proceed, or?
Yes, so the Associate Deputy Commissioner from DESI has approved this, has suggested that because Tanya has done such a wonderful job assisting us during our budgeting, dealing with the deficit borrowing, that they have approved this and recommend that we move forward with this. Okay.
Thank you.
Communications that we've had in Bernardston from that same office indicated that you're supposed to be moving forward with sharing this position and looking to hire a local entity to fill the position. That it was not an open-ended approval. I wish I'd brought the document with me so I could read it verbatim, but I could not.
Okay.
But it was that your superintendent was to begin looking towards sharing this position with other districts.
We're not talking about that right now, Jane. We're not talking about the next steps. The first part of the discussion is
The MOU.
notifying everyone, discussing the process of the MOU, and then, once that is developed, then, John, it's my understanding that you're aware of that process, and do you want to speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, so when Tanya brought this to my attention, obviously we talked about, the situation. I went to Fred Kingsley immediately, wrote him a letter. I met with Deputy Commissioner Jeff Wilson about this, and I said, I'm not going to do anything or proceed in any manner unless we discuss this, meaning me and DESI, with them to see if this is something they would allow and recommend. I told Jeff Wilson the situation and Rick Kingsley, and they thought this was the best solution to have the books closed, the audit done. If you talk to any other superintendent in this area, you'll understand that business managers and directors of finance are very few and far between that are good and competent. They've struggled themselves, so it's a very difficult position to fill. And obviously, we're going to be assessing the situation as we proceed, and we'll be talking to Tanya, every month and saying, is this working for you? Is it working for the district? And we're going to be in constant communication about how it's working. But at this point in time, it seemed like the best and smartest solution, rather than let Tanya go and say this isn't going to work, and now we're scrambling, to find somebody competent. And I know, talking to other superintendents in the area, that's a very hard job for them to fill. I did meet. I told Tanya I met with management. I think they're called Management Solutions. I know Darius, the superintendent in Frontier, had used them. I met with them a couple weeks ago to see, what they offered as far as services and how that worked. That company's not much different from actually the way Tanya's functioning. They only send somebody in one day a week. The rest is done, via email or Zoom or FaceTime. So it's done remotely as well. But yes, this arrangement, to answer Jane's question, is just for the 2019-20 school year. And we are going to be looking to fill the position for FY21. As far as sharing services, I've talked to a few other superintendents. It's not a position they recommend sharing with another district. And because I did approach a few superintendents in the area about that, and basically their response was, we have enough on our plate, and this is not a position that we can share. We can certainly look at that, if there is another district that would be willing, but that's a lot to undertake 2 districts in this position. So.
And we have some things that we need to accomplish and get through within our own district first. So Sharon, you had your hand up first, and then Jeannie.
We have been here before, and we have reached out to, I think it was Mahar before, and it was a tough situation, because although that person was interested in coming to help us out, he also had, wasn't just a high school, there's 2 different districts within that district. And so he had both of those districts, so they didn't want him to come to us. So it's a hard thing to do, to try to split that with another district. So I can see why they were saying that might not be a recommendation.
Jeannie, did you have a question?
Well, I think that all of this is well and good, but we still need to keep in the back of our minds about consolidating service, combining services with other districts. I think that's just how things are. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but I don't want us to forget that that's what the state is encouraging.
And I don't disagree with you. I think this particular position is not one, in my own opinion, it is not one that we should be looking at sharing services at this time for a variety of reasons. But that's, I think, we're not there yet. We have to get through this MOU development first, and then John will start working through that, you know, the next steps. Dave, do you have a question?
Yeah. I had discomfort with the way this was rolled out, the process, et cetera. But over time, I've gotten more comfortable with this, and these winning financial results that are being reported from last year give me confidence, and I've got a lot of confidence in Tanya. And I'm also one who's been pushing for distance learning and alternate ways of doing things, so it seems, for me, highly inconsistent to oppose trying this. I do also know that there is a real shortage of business managers. But as far as sharing, I think that if we can make this work with Tanya at a distance, I think she's the kind of a person that could probably handle another small school. Thank you very much. So let's not close the door on that. And we may be looking at pioneering another model that makes administration of small school districts more affordable. We really have to find ways. And
We have a lot up in the air.
yeah.
But possibilities. So, any other questions? No? So, moving forward, I'll go back to legal counsel, so please expect an executive session meeting to develop the MOU. Okay? Thank you, Tanya. She's still there?
Thank you, I'm still here.
Okay, all right.
Enjoy the warm weather.
You can get out of the pool now.
I'll be there right now, I'm not.
It's only 80 here.
And I do just want to put this out there. Since Tanya has been in a different state, I do have to say, any question, any email, any time that I have contacted her, and I don't know, Mike, being the budget subcommittee chair and working with Tanya, I can say that she has had the information, she has been doing exactly what she said, she's been accountable for her time. So thus far, I have not had any concerns, and again, a testament to what you said, David, she's definitely been very supportive of us in the district, so.
I'd have to agree with you. Saturdays, Sundays, after 9 o'clock, if you got a question, or any question I've had, I send an email. She doesn't wait till Monday morning to get back to me regarding the information, because we all work during the week, so a lot of our stuff goes out at night and on the weekends, and she gets back to us, you know, and you can keep the system moving with the information you provided, so I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. So we, this evening, we had executive session on the agenda. We are not in need of that this evening.
Excuse me, can we go back to staff changes?
There are no staff changes at this
okay.
time. There will be a more formal report September.
Will we get that, will we all get those staff changes?
Yes, yeah.
In
At the
writing?
next meeting, yeah, you'll have everything.
Okay?
So no, we'll go over the executive session as it's not needed this evening. Updates, anyone? Okay. Other business, anyone? No? Good and welfare? Oh, okay. I just wanted to tag on to superintendent's schedules. Thank you to everyone that helped with the move, our facilities, staff. I also want to thank all the other folks that were involved in helping that move. I know there were some teachers that assisted with that move and clean out and getting classroom items from one school to the other. So I do want to thank everybody that was involved in that process. Everybody had a helping hand in that.
That's what I was going to say.
Okay. Our next regularly scheduled meeting is Thursday, September 12th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Here at Pioneer.
I'd like to applaud and commend the group for going well under 2 hours. Nice job, everybody.
We haven't adjourned yet.
Is there a motion on the floor?
I'm gonna filibuster.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
You don't need the,
All right, thank you, everyone.
You're gonna stay, right?
Are there
Too late, Jeannie.
changes in this
I haven't even
from the
looked.
last one? If not.